All right, this is Note-Taking Guide 3.3 on arithmetic sequences and series. So let's just remind ourselves what the notation is like when we're talking about these. What does the a sub 1 right here mean? First term. Second term. This would be the nth term. That's how we would say this. So whatever our n value is, it would be our term that we're looking for. So for instance, if I wanted to find the 12th term, I would do a sub 12, okay? And then it says a to the n plus 1. This means the nth plus 1 term in the series. And I'll explain a little bit more what that means in just a minute, okay? So again, just to remind you how we find arithmetic sequences, in order to be arithmetic, you have to be adding that constant number to get from one number to the next number, okay? That constant is called the common difference. And with arithmetic sequences, we can actually find a specific term. So do you guys remember on the geometric, we were finding the sum of all of the terms of the sum of the first 5 terms? Today, not only can we find the sum of them, but we can actually find like the 105th term, like what that number would be in our series or sequence, okay? So here's a couple of formulas that we're going to be using. This one just tells us how to find the common difference. We take the number to the right and subtract it from the number to the left, and then we just get that common difference. And then here's the formula that we're going to be using to find the nth term. So to find the nth term, we're going to use our first term plus the number of terms we have minus 1 times the common difference. So here we go with an example of how this is done. So example 1, it says find the nth term of this arithmetic sequence. So first of all, we had to find the common difference. You guys, I think they make it harder than it needs to be to find the common difference. You guys can look at it and tell me what the common difference is. How did I get from 9 to 16? I added 7. So what's my common difference? 7. So clearly we need to check every single time, but if they come right out and they tell you it's an arithmetic sequence, don't we know that that number is going to be the same all the way through? So why do we need to check it that many times, right? Our common difference is going to be 7. So in our formula, they call that value our D value, okay? So then they go and they ask us to find the 12th term in that sequence. Couldn't you guys find me the 12th term by just going plus 7, plus 7, plus 7, plus 7 till you got out to the 12th term? You totally could. And actually, sometimes on these ones, I'm really lazy and I do it that way because I don't want to find the formula and plug it in. But if I asked you to do like the 105th term, then you definitely would want to use the formula instead of doing it out by hand. So here's the work for the 12th term. So they grab that formula that's up here in this box and they start filling it in with the information. We're finding the 12th term, so we do a sub 12. And then we have 9. Anybody noticing where the 9 comes from? A1. Yeah, which is what? The first term in the series right here. It's your A1 value. Plus, and then it said 12. Where does the 12 come from? The term that you're trying to find. So 12 minus 1. And then times by D, which is your common difference. So right from there, you guys, you can plug it in your calculator exactly the way it appears. It will figure it out for you. And you get the number 86. So if we continued this up with plus 7, plus 7, plus 7, plus 7, plus 7, and we kept going, our 12th term is going to be the number 86. Does that make sense to everybody what we're finding here? Yeah. All right, so let's do it ourselves to find the 25th term of this sequence. So the very first thing that I need to do is I need to find the common difference. So how do I get from one number to the next? Okay, say it louder. Is that minus 3 or add 3? Yeah, it's add 3 because you're going from a smaller negative to a bigger negative. So my difference or my D value is going to be 3. Do you know your A1 value? Yeah, -7. Did we need to know anything else? I can't remember. Oh, the number of term we were going to find, which is the 25th. So I'm going to write down that formula, and then we're going to just plug into that formula to find that term that we're looking for. So I'm finding the 25th term. I'm using my first term, which is -7. Again, it's the 25th term, and then I'm timesing it by my common difference, which is 3. Plug that in your calculator, get me the value of that term. Just shout it out at me when you have it. 65. So the 25th term of this sequence is the number 65. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, let's try it again just to make sure we've got it. Again, we're going to just use that same formula. So we're finding the 7th term, which would be our n value of the arithmetic sequence, with our first term of a -81, and the common difference is -12. They totally just gave you all of the information you need to plug in. We're going to find the 7th term. Our first term is a -81. Again, the 7th term is what we're looking for, and our common difference is a -12. So plug that in your calculator, and what do you get for your 7th term?
-100. Where'd you get the negative? Oh.
You all right? Colin, what'd you say you got?
-153.
That's exactly right, a -153. Everybody got that? You're all right plugging it in on your calculators. All right, one last one. I'm going to work mine quietly. You work yours quietly at your desk, and then just look up when you're ready to go, okay? When you check your answer against mine, give me a thumbs up if you got it right.
Whoa.
All right, so my answer is -72 for the 31st term. Okay, you ready? All right, flipping it over then. Again, we're going to do a little bit more with arithmetic sequences today than we did with geometric the other day. Again, here's the formula to find the common difference, but we know how to do that just from looking at our numbers and finding the common difference. And then here again is that same formula that we just gave you. So the formulas are just written here again for you, okay? So this time it says write an equation for the nth term of this arithmetic sequence. So we're going to write an equation for it. We know the common difference. How do you get from 5 to -13? You subtracted 18 or added a -18, right? Is that how you got from there to there? Okay. And so we know what our D value is. It's a -18, and we know 5 is the first term. So we're still going to use that same formula, plug in our information, but you see how we're missing our n value this time? So we're missing that n value, and so we have this equation now that's written for any term. So say I want to know the 51st term. What am I going to plug in for n? 51. Say I want to know the 2000th term. What am I going to plug in for n? So do you see how that formula would be really nice to have if you wanted to do more than one term? So what we're going to do on this next one is try it ourselves and write an equation for finding any term, the nth term of the sequence. So we have our A1 and we have our D. So again, we're going to use that same formula that we were using before. But I don't know my n value, right? Because I don't know what term I'm looking for. So I'm going to do the A, and I know my first term is 15. I don't know my n value, but I do know my D value. So the question is on this, how do we simplify this side over here so that we can get it to be an equation? Well, this is attached by addition, so we're going to forget about it for just a minute because we always do multiplication first, right? So I have to multiply that 38 through to both parts there. What do I get when I go to the n?
38.
Yep. And what do I get when I go to the -1?
-38.
Yeah. I still have that 15 up front. And can we simplify that now? Pretty easily, right? I'm going to have 38n, and then combine those like terms for me.
-23.
Thank you. This is my equation that will find any term in that sequence for me by plugging in a number for my term. Okay, let's try it one more time. I'm going to do mine That's the answer, yeah, because it says this time to find the equation for it. And we've found the equation, we're done. Okay, so I'm going to work mine quietly this time so you can just look up and check your work when you're done. Anybody got that number yet? Clearly I'm not doing it. 56. I'm not doing it well in my head. Give me a thumbs up if you got that answer. Nice. All right, so our equation for any term of this sequence would be 7n plus 56. So again, if I want to know the 300th term, I would substitute 300 in for n. Okay, this says provide a description and details for each part of the nth term formula for the arithmetic sequence given that you want to find the 13th term of the sequence. So if we're looking at the arrows where it's pointing, this would be the term you're looking for minus 1, right? So in this case, our 13th term would be what we're looking for. So it would be the 13th term minus 1 that goes in there. What does D represent? Yeah, the common difference. And in this case, on this formula or set of numbers, what would my common difference be?
5.
Yeah, it would be 5. This A sub n right here, what does it stand for? Yeah, the nth term. And in this case, on this problem, we're looking for the 13th term. And then what does the A1 stand for? The first term. So really, if we understand the way that that's written out, we can do any formula with those letters in it. Okay. All right, so we're flipping over and we're going to change to a different formula now. So do you remember the other day when we were doing series, we were finding the sum of the series of the geometric sequence? So we're going to do the same this time for arithmetic. So again, the series is when we add the terms together in the sequence. So an arithmetic series is the sum of all of the terms in an arithmetic sequence. And the sum of the first n terms is called a partial sum. And it's denoted the sum of the first n terms, which we've already talked about that. So there's two formulas that will work for that. I like to look at the information that they give me and use which formula I have the information for. I like to use this first formula if at all possible. It's just easier to use. So again, n stands for the number of terms that you're summing. A1 stands for the first term. Anybody know what the